for British as well as American special forces, wherever they may be. There are certain documents that might be in this trove of documents that could potentially show where certain operations are being conducted, and could potentially name units, which then would indicate what kind of people are there, and that could make a difference, unfortunately.
What do you make of the claim by, well, the UK Ministry of Defence, but also the defence establishment in the US as well, that we can't trust what's in these documents? They look like they've been manipulated.
So some of them have been manipulated, and that's pretty clear, especially those that showed up on both the Twitter and the Telegram platforms. They, especially on Telegram, went through Russian channels before they were released to the public at large. At least some of them were, and those clearly showed some manipulation because they changed casualty figures, which we know to be untrue for both Ukraine and Russia. Basically, they reversed the Russian losses and made them seem like Ukrainian losses, in other words, much greater than we believe is the case, and vice versa. So there is some manipulation. There are some other things that may not be accurate, but that, I think, is something that is partially true for these documents, and may not be completely the case.
But within that, there could be true information which could be incredibly damaging for the West. I mean, among the leaks circulating is a list of names which hasn't been able to be authenticated, purporting to be CIA intelligence operatives working in Ukraine. How damaging is that, if any of those names are true?
Yeah, if anything like that is true, it's incredibly damaging, and it would also serve to make it very difficult for that operation to continue. People would have to be evacuated or exfiltrated out of Ukraine if they are in fact conducting such operations. They would have to be replaced, and of course, this comes at a critical juncture when the Ukrainians are planning their spring offensive. So this is a very dangerous and, quite frankly, bad situation that has developed in this case.
You've worked in the Pentagon, so I guess you can decipher the various warnings at the top of these documents about how top secret or classified they are. Looking at them, these documents that we've got, can you believe that they've made it into the public domain? Can you give us any kind of insight into what kind of control there would be usually over these kind of documents?
Yeah, normally these documents, they seem to be part of a briefing slide deck. These briefings would have been held for senior Pentagon leadership. They would have seen these slides, and then the slides are often distributed to subordinates within the Pentagon and some units outside of the Pentagon. The control mechanisms depend a lot on some of the local handling procedures, but generally speaking, anything that is secret or top secret is handled very carefully, and it is not disseminated in the public sphere, and certainly not on the regular internet. So that becomes one of the key elements here. Clearly, those control mechanisms didn't work in this case, and they need to be reassessed.
It looks like they've been photographed away from the Pentagon at whoever's leaked its home. Is it usual that these kind of documents would leave the building?
No, it is not. In fact, that's strictly forbidden unless you're, carrying it from one secure compartmented information facility to another. These documents are never to leave the building that they're originating in. So either they're transmitted electronically or by courier, but those couriers are under strict procedures to go only from the point of origin to the destination and without any deviation.
Hmm. This will have done a lot of diplomatic damage to the US. We understand that South Korea won't be especially pleased. That some of their internal deliberations about what kind of armaments of theirs end up in Ukraine, it is now in public, and also Serbia, according to these documents, again not verified, reportedly has been secretly arming Ukraine, even though they purport to be one of Russia's closest European allies. So that's embarrassing for them. With this, with the fact that there have been classified documents ending up in Mar-a-Lago and even in parts of President Biden's home as well, from his time vice president, is it understandable that some foreign government official or intelligence official can think we can't really trust the Americans at the moment with this stuff?
It's incredibly embarrassing, and I'll be honest. Since I was an intelligence officer and worked in the Pentagon, as you mentioned, this is something that you never like to see or hear. The fact of the matter is, I think all of our foreign partners, the UK included, have to ask a lot of questions about our handling procedures. Now, every country has had breaches of security. The UK has had them. Other countries or the partner nations have had them. So this is something we have to deal with. But it is also something that you don't want to deal with on a continual basis. So the procedures on the US side absolutely have to be improved, and the same thing has to happen really throughout our alliance system, and that is something that I think needs to happen very, very quickly.
Just finally, a word on how this actually made it into the public domain and where it was found. It's been traced back, but by Bellingcat, the sort of open source investigation unit, to a server called Discord, run by Wow Mao, a 20-year-old British student who's a British Filipino YouTuber. He's had to publicly say that he has nothing to do with this, and he's described the whole thing as hilarious, but worries he might end up in prison, even though he says it's nothing to do with him. Isn't it incredible at this day and age that this kind of thing ends up on a server which is mainly for gaming by the looks of it?
Yeah, that is incredible. Now, my understanding, based on the reporting that we've seen in various sources, indicates that this was deliberately taken. The documents were deliberately taken from an individual's place of work. He took them out, probably in his pants pocket, and moved them over a period of weeks, if not months, to his home, and then photographed them in his home. All of this violates all the procedures that have been set up. It's a clear violation of the procedures that are used for all classified information in the US government. But it was done, and he was using this Discord platform, this gaming platform, to connect with friends and like-minded game enthusiasts and people who seem to share his political beliefs based on some things that I've seen recently. So this is something where a lot of the different aspects of this, become a cascading case of, of basically not following the rules, of flouting the rules.
Mm.
And this is what we're seeing here in a situation of this type. So, with the physical photography that was used to then put these on a server that is absolutely not intended for classified information, that clearly makes it something that can happen very easily, but should never happen based on the rules that we have.